Okay, so welcome back to the weekly Forex Analyst, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'll be dropping a lot of Forex related content in the future and you don't want to miss out on that. But today we have the weekly Forex Analyst, and on your screen now are the 10 pairs I'll be analysing. So let me stop chatting and let's get into it. So the first pair we're going to analyse is Euro USD. So for Euro USD, we're favouring price to keep declining back down. Price has had a tough time around this level, keeps ranging, and this week we had a retest of that weekly trend line. So we're expecting price to keep coming down, and this is where we want price to hit first. And with this trend line, and we look for buys around here to expect price to reverse back up. And if we go to the weekly, we can see that we've had this weekly trend line, and this is where price touched again this week. So we're expecting price to respect that trend line and have a fall in price, and either price respect the daily trend line and eventually break the weekly to go hit that monthly trend line, or a break of the daily trend line, eventually consolidate a bit more and have that breakout. Because we can see on the monthly we have the wedge pattern here, and price has been respecting this pattern for some time, so we're expecting price to eventually break out of here. But we've had a recent test of this lower trend line, so we're expecting another test of this upper one before we get a breakout of this larger pattern. So in the meantime, the daily we're expecting price to keep declining, and we're looking for buy trades around this region here to go back up. Okay, so now we're on to USD JPY. Okay, so we have this ascending channel on USD JPY on the daily, and we're expecting price to keep respecting this channel and continue moving in an upwards fashion. So if we go a bit closer, you can see that this week we had a long wick outside of that channel. Price came down, got rejected, closed back above. So we're expecting now that the market is going to continue up to the upside. And last week I was saying that I was expecting a double bottom, either price to respect the trend line here or come back and form a double bottom here. And price did that. It came down, it hit the trend line, it hit the level, came up, rejected, and now we're expecting price to continue upwards. And if that does fail, and price is to ignore the channel and start a new downtrend, we're expecting price to now turn back down, have a retest. You can look for sell entries there and price to come back down, but instead you can look for corrections on like the 4-hour chart to get back into the market and ride it back up. And if we go to the weekly, let me zoom out a little bit, you can see that we have this descending triangle pattern. You can see we have lower highs giving us that downtrend, but price is struggling to break this level here. So we're expecting price to eventually consolidate and break out to the upside or to the downside. And if we do to the upside, we're expecting price to reach this monthly trend line, and if it's to the downside, we're expecting it to hit this weekly low down here. Now next we're going to see what's happening with USD CAD. Okay, so first we're going to start off the daily, and you can see that price has finally broke out this consolidation. So I'll zoom in, see a little bit better. You see that price has been stuck here for about a week or so, and we finally have the candle that breaking above that level. So we're expecting price to carry on rising to at least this level before we get some sort of reaction. So either you're expecting price to break through, have a retest, and get entry on a lower chart with the 4-hour and keep riding it up, or either it hits the level, gets rejected, forms a little pullback, and then you can get an entry to carry on going up. And we're looking for price to hit this monthly trend line at least. So if I go on the monthly, I'll zoom out, you can see that we had a touch here, long wick there, and another touch here. So we're expecting another touch of that same monthly trend line, which is where we're predicting price to head to. And when price gets there, we'll see how it reacts, because we do have this level here that price has been coming to and keep getting rejected. So if price breaks through it, this is where we're expecting price to come to before we expect a break of this ascending channel and a decline to this price down here. So if we go back to the daily, we're just looking for price to carry on moving up, have some rejection around here or break through the level, have some rejection, retest the same level and go up for next week. Okay, so we're going to move on and analyze Euro GBP. Okay, so we'll start with Euro GBP on the daily, and you can see that price is still respecting this trend line here. And if we zoom in, you can see that price tried to break this level here and it failed. It gave us a wick on Thursday, but another push, strong push to the upside on Friday. So the chances are this level may not hold. But if we do get a long wick of maybe price pushing above it, closing back below, and then maybe sellers will start getting more control. But I'm starting to favor a longer move to this level up here. And if you go to the weekly, you can see the level I'm talking about. So a longer move to this level, you see I have a rejection there, long wicks there. So maybe a longer move to this level. But we do have this expanding pattern. See that price is expanding, making higher highs and is making lower lows as well. So we could get another touch of that pattern up here if this level doesn't break, but we have to see how price reacts in the next few days to see what happens with this level, to see if we get some wick rejection or if price is just going to keep going to the upside and reach this level up here. Okay, so now we're going to jump to NZD CAD. Okay, so for NZD CAD, we can see on the daily that price is still consolidating in this range and still hasn't broken out. So if we zoom in, see that price is still in this range, and we'll be waiting for price to close above and have a retest on the low time frame, and then you can enter a buy trade to ride it up, or if price closes below to the downside, you can wait for retest again on the low time frame and get a better entry and wait for the sell trade. And if price closes above, we're expecting price to reach this weekly trend line before we get a reversal back down, or if price goes to the downside, we're expecting this daily trend line to break and get a longer move back down. And if we take a look at the weekly, you can understand why. We've got this downwards trend here, and you can see that we're making consistent lower highs, and we're expecting, if price does break up to the upside, expecting price to get to the weekly trend line and then another continue of that overall downtrend. Or if price does break to the downside out of consolidation, we're expecting this trend line to break and this weekly trend line to hold, so we get that larger move to the downside. So next week we're just looking for a break of this consolidation and range pattern, either to the upside to this trend line and we look for sales there, or a break to the downside and look for retest and sales there. And next up, we're going to take a look at what's happening with AUD USD. Okay, so on the daily chart for AUD USD, we have this trend line here, and we can see that price has broken it. And if we zoom in, we can see that price has broke this trend line here. We had a retest of the trend line this week. We're expecting price to continue down, and if that happens, we're expecting price to reach all the way to these levels down here. But in my opinion, this level is very important, because if this is a start of a new upwards trend, price would reach this level and we'll get some strong bullish momentum propelling back up to the upside, and that could be a hint that new uptrend can continue. Obviously, we could get a break of this ranging here, we could get a break of that pattern and price could shoot up, and then that could be a sign that a new uptrend can continue. But we still are favoring a breakdown and a downtrend to continue, but we'll have to see how price reacts with this level. We'll get a bit of correction and then we could get a drop back down. But if price does react quite strongly to the upside, then maybe an uptrend continue, but we are still favoring looking for the downside. And if you look on the weekly charts, you can see that we've had this weekly trend line here. We had the third test of that trend line. It looks like we had a false breakout and prices coming back down, so that is indicating that downtrend will continue. And if you look at the monthly as well, we've got this trend line here, second touch there, third touch again there, so we are expecting a downtrend to continue. But this is quite a very strong move, and this could be well a start of a new uptrend, but we're still favoring a downtrend in the market. So just wait for some pullbacks on lower time frames like the 4 hour, and you can enter a sell trade. Now let's take a look at GBP NZD. Okay, so we're going to start with the daily chart to analyze GBP NZD. If we zoom in, you can see that price broke this level last week and gave us a move down. We had a retest of that same level with that long wick there, and now it got rejected and price is heading back down to continue that downwards trend. But we are expecting GBP NZD to reverse, so the next area of the market that could happen is around this trend line here and this level here. So it could either see maybe some price action at that trend line, or maybe a false breakout to test this level and then we get the move back up. So this is the area of the market we'll be interested in next week. And if I go to the weekly, you can see that we have this ascending trend line here. We have a test of that trend line there, a test there, a long wick there. We have a test here, a test there, a third test there, and we're expecting a fourth test soon as well. So if price does respect this ascending channel, expect price to reverse and continue back up. But we are in a very bearish market right now, so price could still break this trend line, have a retest, look for entries around there of that trend line or this level, and take that all the way back down. And if that happens, we're expecting price to test this level down here. And if we go to the monthly, you can see that we have this overall downtrend. We have a test there, a test there, a third test there. So we are in a downtrend market. So we could get an overall move down to this low down here. So that is still a possibility. But we have to look at this ascending channel, and we could be expecting price to reverse down there. So you have to wait for some price action and some reversal patterns. And then if that happens, we could take the trade up. But if that doesn't happen, we could wait and see if either price reverses or it comes down and the downward trend continues. And now we're going to check out and analyze CAD JPY. Okay, so for CAD JPY on the daily, you can see that price is still in this region here, and it is still hasn't gone anywhere since last week. So if we zoom in, you can see that price has still stayed in this range. It's still stuck on this support level here. So we're expecting price to keep respecting that support level and give us a move to the upside. And if we do, we can wait for some impulsive movement to the upside, wait for a bit of correction on the lower time frame at the 4 hour, then you can look for a trade there to keep riding that up. But if that doesn't happen and we get a break, then we can expect to move to this monthly trend line down here or this low down here, and you can wait for a retest and a bit of price action and then look for the sell trade. But we are favoring CAD JPY to continue and rise to the upside. And if we take a look on the weekly, we zoom out a little bit, you can see that we do have this downwards trend and we have lower highs, and we're expecting price to rise and retest that trend line before we look for a sell trade back to the monthly, and that's what we'll be looking for. And on the monthly, we have this trend line that price has been respecting for some time as well. You can see multiple touches, and we had a test of this trend line recently as well, so we're expecting this trend line to hold and we get an overall test of this outer monthly trend line here. But we do have this weekly trend line that could force price back down to retest this monthly trend line before we get a move to that trend line down there. So in the meantime, we're expecting price to go up and hit this weekly trend line, but we can still get a sell trade and price go test this monthly before we look to buy it again. Okay, so next up, GBP USD. Okay, so I'm going to start with GBP USD with the the daily chart for GBP USD. You can see that we're in a downtrend now, and if you look a bit closely, you can see that price broke this trend line last week with this candle there, and now we had a retest of that same trend line this week, and looks like price has respected that and it's going to fall back down. So we're expecting this trend to at least hit this zone here, and we'll see how price reacts. Either we'll get a reversal or a continuation to this low here, this all-time low for GBP USD. So we're expecting price to either reverse here or continue down to this low down here. And if you see on the monthly chart, we do have this long downtrend, and we are expecting eventually another hit of that same trend, but we're currently in a downwards trend on the daily, so that has to finish first. So we're going to look for some reversals either at this level here, so here and here, or if price continues down here. But for now, we do have a downtrend, so you can look for correction on lower charts like the 4 hour chart to get into the market and keep riding this down to these zones. And last but not least, GBP CAD. Okay, so you can see that this trend line here has been broken on GBP CAD, and if you take a closer look, you can see that this trend line here had a retest this week and a retest of this level as well, and it looks like price has respected it, so we're expecting a downward trend to continue. And if that happens, we're expecting this price to be reached, and we wait for either a break of the price, a retest, and you can enter back on the sell trade, or maybe a bigger pullback. You can look for some correction a bit higher up and look for a sell trade there. And we're expecting this monthly trend line to be hit or this monthly low to be hit. And if you go to the weekly, you can see that we have this weekly trend line. We have a touch there, multiple touches there, touch there, and multiple again. So this is a strong trend line that price is respecting a lot on the weekly. So the chances are this trend line will hold and we'll get that longer move down to this monthly trend line down here. And if we go to the monthly, you can see that we have this trend line which has multiple touches as well, and it is strong, so the chances are if price does come down to test this monthly trend line, it will probably hold, and we'll expect price to eventually break this weekly trend line to go test these outer monthly trend lines. So if we look back on the day, we're just expecting to see price keep declining, wait for some corrections, some pullbacks, and can enter a sell trade on the lower time frames and keep expecting price to drop. And that brings us to the end of the video, so I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave a like, share, and hit the bell so you don't miss an upload. Please leave a comment if you found this useful or if you have any questions, but till the next one, I'll see you later.